Hello and welcome to a new session. In this session, coal, anmol and black diamonds are eagerly waiting to meet us. But before we introduce them, I think we need to have some solid understanding about the resource itself. Now, resource are what? In simple words, resource are those substances which we use, which we consume to meet our different categories of needs. Some of the basic needs and some of the advanced need, primary, secondary needs we fulfill by consuming them. Now, resources are of two types: natural resource and artificial or man-made resources. Let's first explain natural resources. The air, the water, the sunlight, all these comes free of cost and obviously from the nature. That's why they are called as natural resources. Now, ask me some man-made resources. They are plastics, which forms an inevitable part of our daily life. Beside that, synthetic fiber, medicines, drugs, paints, lot of other resources are there which really forms an coherent and integral part of our daily life. Coal, petroleum and natural gas are collectively called as fossil fuel. Now, why they are called as fossil fuel? Because they are obtained from the dead remains of the plants and animals buried deep inside the earth's surface several million years ago, such a long years back, and they have undergone under tremendous pressure. They were subjected to extremely high pressure, and remember, deep inside the earth there is no oxygen. So under extremely high temperature, extreme high pressure and lack of oxygen, they slowly and gradually and painstakingly converted to what we see today, the invaluable resources, the coal, petroleum and natural gas. But first today, coal and mole we are going to introduce. As I have told you, coal is a fossil fuel. Now, let's take the different colors, the different types of coal through some of the visuals. They are black, some of them are quite dull even, and different varieties even. One of them, if you see, it's slightly grayish in color, and another one is a little bit reddish, blackish kind of a color. Isn't it interesting? Now, as we know, coals are obtained from coal mines. Coal mines which dig deep inside the earth's crust, quite deep there. Then the lifts are there. It goes. Some of the visuals are there to have a feel about the coal mines, how coals are collected from there. Go through them. Yeah, you will thoroughly have a solid understanding about that part. Coal is a strong, black, dull, combustible substance. Now, which is a resource of energy when it is burned. It has a high calorific value. Mainly it provides huge heat energy, in some cases also light energy. The various uses of coals are, number one, it is used as a fuel for burning, for cooking purposes. In the villages earlier it was quite popular, but it produces a lot of smoke, so people have stopped using that, and instead of that have started using LPG, especially in the remote area. Kolaghat thermal power station and many more. You just go through them, and this thermal power, the raw material, the coal reaches there in trains, even in goods train, and they are used in a large amount. They are burnt day in and day out, and which produces electricity for us. Delhi, there is one thermal power plant, but on the outskirts of it, the fly ashes, they are piled up like small mountains. Now, types of coal. Now, coal contains several different things in it. Now, what we do, coal contains a lot of moisture and impurities too. So, to get rid of those moistures, the coal is heated, strongly heated. And one condition more, that in the absence of air. So, in the absence of air, coal is strongly heated. Now, this process is called as destructive distillation. Destructive distillation. Now, we obtain three important products of coal. through destructive distillation. Number one is coal gas, second your coal tar and coke. Coal gas is an excellent fuel. It is in gaseous form. It mainly contains methane, hydrogen and carbon monoxide gases. Now these all the gases which are present there in coal gas, they completely burns to give you absolutely heat energy. Yes, as I have said now, it contains your methane. The formula of methane is CH4, contains hydrogen gas. It also contains your carbon monoxide gas. These three gases are found in coal gas. Now these are the different products of, let me give the headings straight away. The products of coal. In earlier days, this coal gas was used for to lighten the streets in the European countries in the evening time when there were no electricity. So in every the lamp, coal gas lamps were there, and beautiful. Coal gas is used for producing heat energy, which was used for different home uses as well as the commercial purposes. Second is coal tar. This coal tar is also obtained by destructive distillation, that is, in the absence of air we have to heat the coal, then we get coal tar. This is a quite viscous dark black liquid. It contains more than 200 carbon compounds. Amazing, 200 carbon compounds, etc. Goes on. 200 carbon compounds, isn't it? That's the reason why it is used. It produces so many products also. Some of the products you will be amazed to know the kind of huge list of products. Let's say some of the products are plastics, synthetic fibers, paints, medicines, then drugs. It produces pesticides. It produces pesticides, dyes, perfumes. I will get exhausted, vanishes. Now how we get coal tar has to undergo fractional distillation. Fractional distillation. Then we can separate the different component of coal tar. What is fractional distillation? We take coal tar in a large container, and then it is heated strongly. Strong heating goes on. Now we know each of the component has unique boiling point, different boiling point. In this case, the difference in boiling point properties of the are used to separate them. These boiling point properties of the different components are used to separate them. Now we are going to discuss now the third product of coal, that is coke. Now coke is also obtained by the destructive distillation of coal. Now this coke is hard. Number one, it has more volume than 40% more volume. 40% more volume. It's quite voluminous. It's fluffy, you can say, porous. 40% more volume than, it possesses 40% more volume than coal, and it is more pure than obviously coal. More pure than coal. Coke is more pure than coal. Why? Coke contains 98% of carbon minus the volatile component. What are the volatile components and impurities? The volatile components are like your moisture and any other, these moistures are basically called as volatile component. So it's absolutely, when you burn coke, it gives you more more calorific value than your 1 kg of the same amount when you burn coal. And it's an excellent fuel, this coke. And the size of it will appear to be quite large as it appears volume. Why? Because of the small gaps, the pores occupies a lot of space. It seems to be very solid, but deep inside it is quite porous also. Interesting, this coke. Now the various use of coke, obviously it's used in the industry as an excellent fuel. Commercial purposes are quite high. I missed one important use of coal tar. That black viscous liquid is used to make the surface of the road. Some of you might have seen the surfacing of the roads, which carries on the repairing of the roads. The concretes are mixed with that black hot molten liquid that is nothing but coal tar. It has an excellent binding property. It binds the concrete particles together. When it cools down, it solidifies, and the bonds are too strong to be broken down even by 100 tons vehicles running day in and day out on the road. But now the guest is waiting for us, that is petroleum. Petroleum is also a fossil fuel. How petroleum was formed? Let's discuss about that. It's again several thousand years ago. The tiny plants and aquatic animals, they got buried inside the bottom part of the seas, deep inside the seas, and they were then the layers of sediments started pounding upon them. They were covered, they were under the debris of those sediments, and they were subjected to tremendous high pressure, high temperature, and lack of again oxygen. They were converted to your petroleum. But again, it's a time-taking process. It took several million years to form petroleum. What we see, that means the petrol that we are using has been formed several thousand years ago. Isn't it interesting? We should use it judiciously. That is petroleum. Now the petroleum, we have to understand where, along with the natural gas, how they are obtained. For that we need to understand a diagram. Now here goes the diagram before you. Now here what we see, as we know, in some specific part of the earth it is found, not everywhere. Earth's crust, then the layer is shell, below that there is impervious rocks. If you see carefully the diagram, in the two impervious between the two impervious layers of rocks, there are, the bottommost is water, and petrol, above that we find a petroleum. Why? Because the density of water is quite high compared to your petrol. So that's the reason why the layer of petroleum is always there above water, and natural gas, which is the lightest among these three, forms the top layer among them. So first it's natural gas, followed by petroleum, then water. So they are found between the impervious rocks. Petroleum obtained from it has two words, Petra and oleum. So Petra means rocks and oleum means oil. But the thing is, these are the oils which are trapped among the oils and which are then retrieved back, petroleum. Now how we get the different first, the petroleum which is obtained is called as crude petroleum. It contains a lot of impurities and several components are present in it. We need to first separate them, but we have to first dig petroleum out from deep inside the earth's surface. We have to make certain structure. It's quite a huge, it's quietly costly projects. You have to invest huge money. The companies invest a lot of, the government invest a lot of money to for extraction of petroleum. Oil extraction platform structures, they are made above the surface of the seas, mostly Mumbai High in India, Bombay High earlier it was called, and many part of some part of Gujarat, the petroleum oils are there. Now how this crude oil reaches the refinery, and where it undergoes, that crude petroleum undergoes fractional distillation. As I have told, fractional distillation is very important process in which the various component or the fraction we say present in petroleum are separated by the difference of their boiling point properties. No two component has the same boiling point properties, so that's the property is used to separate the components. Now, what are the various components obtained from petroleum after fractional distillation? We'll discuss one by one. Petrol gas, quite popularly called as LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Everyone has seen the red color cylinder. Second is your this petrol, which is very important, brightness serial wise. Diesel. Fourth, lubricating oil. This oil is very important, which helps to reduces the friction among the machines, machineries, vehicles, the scooters, cars, large vehicles, heavy motor vehicles, anything. Lubricating oil is a must to reduce the friction among the motors, the machines inside the engines. This is very important, otherwise the longevity decreases. Paraffin wax. Paraffin wax is very important, and bitumen. I hope I covered almost everything. Now, petroleum gas, needless to say, the uses are invaluable. Every home needs this LPG. For cooking purposes, we need LPG. For commercial purposes, the hotel industries depended on LPGs. Petrol getting very costlier nowadays, reaching 100. The light motor vehicle, heavy motor vehicle, everything runs on petrol. One thing I missed it here, we'll add it here. Now that will make it 4, that is kerosene. Diesel is again a very popular fuel. This diesel is used especially in the to run heavy motor vehicles, especially some cars are also there nowadays which runs on diesel. So it also used to run the generator set. So trucks, then tractors, everything is run on. So petrol for light motor vehicles like your auto, scooters, car, etc., bike. Now diesel, tractors, trucks, bus, etc. Kerosene, to burn the stove in the village areas. Kerosene run stoves are there. Kerosene lamp is also there. Earlier in our village there was no electricity in my childhood, so we used to study under kerosene lamp, which is something of, let me try to draw it, something of this shape. There's a flame here and something of this shape. It was something like that. We can hold it here. This was the lamp here. There's a wick here, keeps on burning. Now let me tell you, in heavy machinery, lubricating oils, the machines which keeps on running for 24/7, some of the industries out there in multinational companies, they avoid using lubricating oil. Then they what use, because the machines keeps on running, they run with the graphite run, because graphite is an excellent solid lubricant. It do not, due to extreme heat, it do not get volatile, it do not get vaporized and keeps on working. Whereas lubricating oil, because of extreme friction or due to extreme heat generated through the machines, might get evaporated and the stocks might get finished. So we have to replace it as fast as possible, too costly. Then they use this graphite powder, lead powder. Paraffin wax. Why the name paraffin? Can someone tell? Paraffin. Actually, waxes are of paraffin wax, animal wax, which is obtained from the animals. Then we have plant wax also. plant wax also. But what do you understand by the word paraffin? Paraffin means lacking in affinity, towards chemical reaction. That means they are paraffin wax are chemically unreactive. Understand? Chemically unreactive. They don't have affinity towards any other chemical substances to undergo reaction. That's why the word paraffin means lacking affinity. Now we have bitumen. This bitumen is again a component obtained from petroleum by the fractional distillation process. This bitumen is very important uses. Some of the uses are, it is used to make the roofs of some of the houses too, and along with that it is fast replacing coal tar, as I have explained, that it is also used to make the surfaces of the roads. This bitumen is also used to make the surface of the roads. It has an excellent binding capacity, this bitumen. So all these products. Now one thing, the resources, all these resources, petroleum, coal, and in the next session we'll discuss about the natural gas. But here coal and petroleum, they are quite precious resource, and resources are of two types. At the beginning I missed it. Resources are of two types: exhaustible resource and inexhaustible resource. Exhaustible resource, which the stocks which can be finished in the coming time. Like petrol, diesel, their stocks are limited. If we keep on using randomly, then the stocks will be finished. So they are called as exhaustible resources. But some of the resources which are inexhaustible are obviously sunlight, which comes absolutely free of cost, and infinite amount of sunlight we can use, and so far the sun is there, sunlight is there, so it's an inexhaustible resource rather. And water obviously, but water is coming at a premium in some part. Air, water and sunlight, these three are your they fall under the inexhaustible resources. So with this, let me conclude the session. In the next session, natural gas will take and wind up, and what are the steps to prevent the overuse of petrol, diesel and all these things, and why CNG is getting popular. But let me tell you, compressed natural gas or the natural gas is very popular nowadays. The CNG run buses, the trucks, even the autos, cars are replacing with the CNG kit cylinder. Why? Because they are excellent fuel, number one. Second, they are quite eco-friendly. Third, these CNG run kits, CNG being, it produces very less smoke. That's the thing, very less harmful chemicals it emits while on burning. So that's why some of the state like Delhi and other, even Kolkata too, is quite polluted in terms of air pollution. Is no need to mention again. So the government and people are taking initiative to use CNG run buses, at least to have we can breathe easily. Bye bye and take care. DP is signing off.